5 insane cults.
5.
The Vampire Clan. 16-year-old Rod Farrell was obsessed with vampires, even claiming to be a 500-year-old vampire called Visaggio. When Farrell met Heather Wendorf at school, she was fascinated by him and his vampire clan. The pair performed rituals in which they would drink each other's blood. After Farrell moved back to Kentucky, Wendorf confided in him that she was miserable at home. Farrell soon came up with a solution to save Wendorf. On November 25, 1996, Farrell and his vampire clan, which consisted of Scott Anderson and 2 teenage girls, drove to Wendorf's home. The girls took the car and brought Wendorf to see her boyfriend so she could say goodbye. Meanwhile, Farrell and Anderson walked into the house, and Farrell grabbed a crowbar and beat 49-year-old Richard Wendorf to death as he lay asleep on the couch. The pair claimed they were going to leave 54-year-old Ruth Wendorf unharmed, but she came across the 2 teenagers in her home and threw hot coffee on Farrell, which angered him, and so he beat her to death as well. Farrell then burned his symbol, a letter V, into Richard Wendorf's body before stealing his car and picking up the girls. Heather's sister found the bodies when she returned home from work that night. The vampire clan drove to New Orleans, where they quickly ran out of money. When one of the girls called her mother to ask for cash, the police quickly tracked down the clan. All but Heather Wendorf confessed to the crimes. Farrell was given a death sentence, making him the youngest person on death row at the time. Heather Wendorf was acquitted of involvement in the crimes after a grand jury found that she did not know what Farrell had intended to do.
4.
The Kenney Cult. Jimmy Pennick, Mark Goodwin, and brothers Keith and David Lawrence were involved in a satanic cult while working at a traveling carnival. Co-worker William Alt wanted to join them, and when the cult rejected him, he turned to blackmail. He knew about the murder of an 18-year-old boy in Fulton County, Georgia, committed by Pennick and Keith Lawrence earlier that year. However, the cult had a different plan to ensure Alt wouldn't talk. The 5 men drove to a secluded area where Alt was asked to lie on a makeshift satanic altar. The 4 cult members then tied and gagged him. Keith Lawrence said a prayer to Satan before Pennick picked up a knife and cut Alt from his neck to his stomach. The men then took turns cutting his abdomen and chest, making an inverted cross. Finally, Pennick asked Alt if he was ready to die before slitting his throat. The 4 men later cut off Alt's head and hands and tried to burn them before throwing his body into a field. Then they took the money Alt had on him and went to Arby's. The police were tipped off as to the whereabouts of the body, and the 4 cult members were arrested and charged with murder. It's a bit ironic, too. As of the writing of this video, there have been several recent killer clown sightings in America.
3.
The Russian teen satanic cult. In the mid-2000s, in the Russian town of Yaroslavl, a group of teenagers led by Nikolai Ogolobayak started sacrificing small animals to Satan. One of the cult members claimed that after they started praying to Satan, his life got easier. In June of 2008, the group of now around 8 17 to 19-year-old teenagers told their parents they were going to a music festival, but in fact they had lured 4 teenagers into a forest and proceeded to force them to drink alcohol before brutally murdering them. Early reports claimed that the victims had been stabbed 666 times. The cult reportedly also cannibalized the corpses before throwing the arms and legs into a pit with satanic markings on it. After the bodies were found, the cult members were charged with murder, although one member was deemed unfit for trial and was ordered to undergo psychiatric treatment.
2.
Jeffrey Lundgren's farm. Jeffrey Lundgren was a minister with the Reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, a large offshoot of the Mormon religion. He was removed due to concerns about his radical views and eccentric behavior, as well as accusations of theft. He moved his family to Kirtland, Ohio, where he started his own cult. He forced his followers to give him their paychecks and participate in mandatory weapons training. In order to maintain his rule, he listened in on phone calls and banned cult members from talking to each other. Things escalated when Lundgren announced that women could achieve salvation through sexual acts. He had them dance naked while he watched and masturbated. Things came to a head when the newly joined Avery family decided they wanted to leave. To stop them, he turned on a chainsaw to mask the gunshots and killed the whole family. The cult disbanded after this, and upon the bodies being found, the law eventually caught up with Lundgren, and he was executed by lethal injection in 2006.
1.
The Manson family. At number 1, we have a cult which was formed from ideas originating in Satanism, Scientology, and a whole host of other sources which supported its founder, Charles Manson's, motives. Without a doubt, one of the most infamous cults in history, the Manson family cult primarily fixated on a prophecy which Charles Manson claims to have had when he was listening to the song Helter Skelter by the Beatles. He truly thought that there was a race war coming which would see the African Americans in battle against every other race. He said that the African American side would be victorious, but would not be able to manage the society created by the war and would fail to govern it. Charles Manson's cult called themselves a family and had plans to go underground while the war was taking place. They then planned to come out once the war was over and take over where the African Americans couldn't manage, thus putting the Manson family at the helm of society.